Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari 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 Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare
Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram
Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jai Krishna Balaram
Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai
Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jai Gaura Nitai
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 verse number 39. Etan me samshayam Krishna chetum arhasya sheshataha twadanya samshayasyasya chetana hyupapadyate. The meaning of this verse: this is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for yourself, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Arjuna is referring to the doubt he has asked about the destination of a unsuccessful yogi. Somebody who practices but is not able to complete his practice to attain perfection before death comes. Then what is the destination of such a person is Arjuna's question. Now Arjuna is also concerned that won't such a person be losing out both materially and spiritually? And in this verse, Arjuna is particularly telling Krishna, but for Krishna, nobody else can actually destroy this doubt. Now, Srila Prabhupada explains why is Arjuna telling like this. Krishna is the perfect knower of the past, present and future. You see, this is Krishna's position. Now compared to this position of Krishna, is there anybody else who perfectly knows past, present and future? Nobody knows other than Krishna. Nobody knows. Also, in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly said, the Lord and the living entities, they exist individually. In the past they existed, now they are existing in the present, and they continue to retain their individual identity in the future. And as far as the living entities are concerned, even after liberation, they continue to retain their individual identity. So, Krishna has already cleared up about the question of the future of the individual living entity as far as what happens when somebody becomes liberated. Their individuality is not lost. Individuality continues even after liberation. Now, what about the unsuccessful transcendentalist is what Arjuna is specifically asking. Now, as far as Krishna's position is concerned, no one is equal to or greater than Krishna. Asamordhva. Krishna is the supreme. And by supreme, we don't mean relatively supreme. No. Absolute position of Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. And the great sages, philosophers of this world, who are at the mercy of material nature, their position can change any moment, any time. They are all subject to the laws of nature. So we cannot depend on them to give us perfect knowledge. Perfect knowledge always comes from the perfect source, Krishna. or from somebody who is learned from Krishna and is passing on the perfect knowledge without any change, without any adulteration, without any speculation. So, only Krishna and his pure devotees in parampara. Arjuna is directly asking Krishna. Arjuna had that facility. So, if we cannot directly ask Krishna, at least we can ask or approach a bona fide spiritual master who is in parampara coming from Krishna in a proper succession. So therefore, it is said here, the verdict of Krishna is final and complete, and it is the way to actually get such doubts cleared. No one knows Krishna. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. No one knows Krishna perfectly, but in this world. But Krishna knows everyone and everything, past, present, future. So Krishna alone can clear this doubt. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse number 40. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinashastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krit Kaschid Durgatim Tata Gacchati. The meaning of this verse is, the blessed Lord said, Krishna is now responding to whatever question Arjuna asked. O son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. This is the assurance given by Krishna to Arjuna as regards the transcendentalist who is practicing a spiritual life. If you remember, we have discussed three paths for this self-realization, three kinds of transcendentalists. Jnana yogis, those following the path of knowledge, Ashtanga yogis following the path of meditation, and Bhakti yogis following the path of devotion or devotional service. So all the transcendentalists, they never meet with any destruction if they are engaged in auspicious activities. What are auspicious activities? Those which are meant for self-realization, without any desire for material gain. And one who does good is never overcome by evil. This also is the assurance given by Krishna. Now, Srila Prabhupada has given a very detailed explanation in the purport about this particular verse. Krishna explaining about auspicious activities and one who does good never meets with evil. Prabhupada is elaborately described. Now, Narad Muni says in the Srimad-Bhagavatam that a transcendentalist engaged in spiritual activities, for him there is never any loss. Even if he begins and then is somehow he gets deviated. Somehow gets deviated. So Narad Muni says, for a person engaged in any transcendental activities or on the spiritual path of progress in the matter of self-realization, there is never any loss. Why? Because on the spiritual path, whatever advancement one makes is permanent. That is the real thing. It is already explained in the second chapter. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In the spiritual line, a little advancement also can protect one from the greatest danger. That has already been mentioned in the second chapter. So that is being repeated here, that even if one does not complete the progress, there is no loss at all for such a for material purposes. There is a need for completing 100% to get some result. Materially, we know that you have to complete something, then only there is some result possible, some benefit. And as far as spiritual activities are concerned, whatever little progress one makes, that is permanent, that is never lost. On the other hand, it is said somebody simply follows prescribed duties without taking to the spiritual path, simply does spiritual their prescribed duties and desires only some material gain, then the results are not necessarily auspicious. Because what happens with this material gain, if it is something like wealth in this world, one has to give up at the end of this life. If it is, let us say, next life he is going to be promoted to heavenly planet, because of which he has done his prescribed duties and worked hard for promotion to the heavenly planet. Then even if he is promoted to the heavenly planet in the next life, Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna, he has to come back to this earth planet after his punya is exhausted. It's never a permanent elevation. Anyway, life in this material world, any planet is not permanent. And even heavenly planets also, even if one is promoted, one cannot stay there forever. So in this way, it's not called auspicious activity if somebody is performing some, following some Vedic direction for material gain in this world, either in this life or next life. Any material benefit somebody is seeking, that is never considered auspicious activities. Then, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse number 41. Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashwati samaha shuchinam shrimatam gehe yoga brashtobi jayate. The meaning of this verse is, the unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living beings, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. So Srila Prabhupada explains, the unsuccessful yogis, yoga brashta, are divided into two classes. One class of unsuccessful yogi is a yogi who has fallen after very little progress. And the second class of unsuccessful transcendentalists or yogis is those who have fallen after long period of practice. Now in this verse, Krishna is describing those who are fallen after a short period of practice. What happens to them? Even for the little practice they have done, they are first of all promoted to the planet of the pious living beings, upper planet, where he can enjoy many years some material enjoyment of a higher, much higher grade than that available on the earth. And after that, he comes back to this earth, because anywhere you go up in the upper planets, After the punya is exhausted, one has to come back. Then he is allowed to, after he comes back to the earth, he is allowed to take birth in the family of a righteous person, Shuchinam, a pious Brahmana family, or a rich aristocratic merchant family, Vaishya family. So either a Brahmana family or a Vaishya family. Now the advantage of such a birth is being explained here, that such a birth, they can actually take advantage of the facility available for not struggling to maintain themselves, but they can engage further to make further progress. They can engage in spiritual activities. They can continue from where they left off. Now, to continue from where they left off, Krishna, who is seated as Paramatma, will direct such a soul. It is not that the person has to remember. Generally, when we take new birth in another body, we forget about the previous life or previous lives. So, it is not expected that the yogi who is fallen, he will remember. It is Paramatma, Krishna seated as Paramatma in the heart, who is always accompanying the living being. Even after he changes body, Paramatma accompanies. That's his kindness. So Paramatma will remind. And his memory is unlimited. He knows everything, past, present, future, of every living being, of the entire creation, of the entire spiritual world. He knows everyone and everything. So that is his unlimited memory. So Krishna will remember as Paramatma, and he will remind that you continue from a certain point. He'll remind. And if a person continues and takes advantage of facilities, they can elevate themselves to full Krishna consciousness in the next life. I'll take some questions. Here's a question. Everyone tries to take birth as human and is one of the top compared to other species. But why we want liberation and don't want to take birth next life? Now, the Bhagavad Gita explains taking birth in this material world means there are 4 disadvantages. Dukkha and dosha. This is what the Bhagavad Gita says. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha, dosha, anudarshanam. We have to understand this very carefully. Birth in this material world means one goes through certain miseries associated with birth, just like remaining in the mother's womb for 9 months in the case of a human birth. That is described in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, 3rd canto. What are the miseries the child goes through in the mother's womb? Then, of course, everyone knows the miseries of disease, miseries of old age. Old age, what are the miseries? It is the invalidity due to old age, the anxieties, the uncertainties, the systematic weakening of the body, of the senses, of the loss of memory. So many things happen in old age. It's a stage called dwindling stage. Everything starts becoming weaker. So, and it is just a stage before death. That is also to be noted, that not everybody understands exactly what is death. Most people don't understand what is death. Death is actually a change of body. There is nothing to worry about death. But then it's easy to say When actually death comes or death is approaching, we become very, very anxious. We become fearful. So, these four fundamental defects are there in all species of life. So much so that Bhagavatam says, even Brahma is afraid of death. Brahma, the topmost living being in the entire universe, he is afraid of death. What to speak of others? So, it is not at all a place where there can be fearlessness. So, spiritual life means fearlessness. Spiritual life means eternal happiness. Spiritual life means eternal freedom from these sufferings and bondage and all that. Next question. Is there any possibility that person will come back to material world if a person reached to God? Never. Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yad gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. Krishna says samsiddhim. Samsiddhim means the topmost perfection is to attain kingdom of God, kingdom of personal abode of the Supreme Lord. Next question. After this Kali ended, God will appear again in coming yugas. God appears in every yuga. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. After every yuga, whenever there is discrepancy in the practice of dharma, whenever there is need to protect devotees, whenever there is need to kill demons who become too demoniac, beyond the control of the devatas, then Krishna appears, Krishna incarnates. So, actually Krishna's incarnations are continuously coming. Continuously coming. Can we keep Krishna deity or photo in pocket or purse so that we will remember Krishna every time? You cannot keep a deity, you can keep a photo. Photo is okay. When is Kartik Mass coming this year? Kartik Mass begins for us Vaishnavas tomorrow. It begins tomorrow and it will go on for a month. Kartik Mass, important thing is to offer a lamp to Krishna as Damodara. It's also called Damodar Mass. Though Ganga was sober, why was she averse to Arjuna and given an arrow to Babruvana to defeat Arjuna since he killed Bhishma? Though Bhishma clarified to her, Arjuna did so under his orders. This is some incident concerning Mahabharata, which I am not familiar. But in any case, the entire episode of Mahabharata is completely arranged by Krishna for the sake of reducing the burden of the earth. And among those who died in that battle, without exception, because they all died in the presence of Krishna, everyone got liberation. Everyone got liberation. And those who were eligible to go to the spiritual world, they went back to spiritual world. So, there is no loss for anybody in this battle of Kurukshetra. We think that so many people died, so it's a great loss. But actually it is clarified, nobody, for the soul there is no death. Besides that, even for the soul after the change of body at the time of death, it is always elevation. It's always elevation when they die in the presence of Krishna. Somebody dies in the presence of Krishna. or somebody is killed by Krishna, then also there is elevation. So there is never a loss. Next question. Srila Prabhupada turned myriad souls to Krishna consciousness simply by his presence and continues to do so through his Vani. However, could you describe the Leela whereby his own family was antagonistic to his presence and bhakti? Actually, we shouldn't say his family was antagonistic, but they were not as enthusiastic as Prabhupada was. They were not as enthusiastic as Prabhupada was. So Prabhupada was not very happy about it, that his own family members were not very enthusiastic. And they did not certainly take up Krishna consciousness very seriously. That is also very evident. But we should also understand, Prabhupada has not come just for some limited family members to take advantage. For them it is available. But Prabhupada has come to deliver the entire world. And his family members, by the way, they benefit because they are the most fortunate people to appear as the family members of a pure devotee. So their liberation is guaranteed even if they don't practice devotional service. Even if they don't practice devotional service, their liberation is guaranteed. Just because they are fortunate to have appeared as his family members. Just like Hiranyakashipu, he didn't do anything good during his lifetime as Hiranyakashipu, but he got a son like Prahlad, pure devotee. So when Prahlad is requesting, kindly pardon my father, excuse his offenses to Narasimhadev, Narasimhadev is telling, because you are born as his son, so he is already liberated, freed from all sinful reactions. He is already liberated. Not only he, 21 generations in a family of a pure devotee, 21 generations are liberated. 21, we can't even count 3 or 4 generations back we can go. More than it we can't even count. But Narasimhadev assures Prahlad Maharaj, in a pure devotee's family, 21 generations are liberated. Their sinful reactions are completely wiped away. Zero. Nullified. Completely nullified sinful reactions. All past sinful reactions. Next question. If one strives to follow Krishna consciousness even amidst personal calamity and may not be able to execute prescribed duties, why could he still be a lowborn in his next life? How is that not a loss or degradation? Okay, birth in the next life is dependent on the consciousness at the time of death. And that consciousness at the time of death is dependent on what kind of activities a person has performed throughout that particular life. So like it is described in the Bhagavatam, the example is given of a great king, Bharat Maharaj, who very nicely executed Krishna consciousness, but at the end became attached to a deer, and he had to die in that consciousness, put his body in that consciousness, and he got a body of a deer. So the laws of nature work as far as body is concerned, even in the case of pure devotee. Of course, pure devotee, there is no question of laws of nature. For a devotee also, for a devotee who is practicing Krishna consciousness, the laws of nature are working as far as the body is concerned. But a devotee is concerned with what is happening to my soul. What is happening to the soul? So as far as the soul is concerned, what is happening to the soul? That is simply dependent on what devotional service has been performed. So all the devotional service somebody has done, that will definitely benefit the soul. And that is always attached to the soul. It is never lost. Material things are lost. We change the body. but spiritual progress or spiritual advancement, spiritual gain is never lost. Why someone who simply follows strictly the prescribed duties need not necessarily attain auspicious results, as good karma leads to good results? Now, what is considered auspicious is important. That which is spiritually beneficial, because only spiritual things last. Material gain, it is lost. It is some temporary effect, that's all. So how is that auspicious? That is not auspicious. Auspicious means something permanent. Something permanent is called auspicious. Not something which is temporary. Okay, I'll stop here. Thank you. Hare Krishna.